Hello, welcome to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. My name is Claire Hill, self-belief and business coach and founder of the Vivid Business Club, a coaching and all-round amazing place for business owners, especially female online business owners. I feel really nervous today. I was just thinking, why do I feel so nervous? I think this is episode 236 or 238 or something, and I've obviously been doing this for a while now. But I'm going to talk about something quite personal, I think. And I think that when you talk about something that is personal, when you have to get vulnerable, you want to do a really good job. So I just want to let you know that if you ever feel nervous when you are doing things that you've always done, it's completely normal. Like I do feel a little, you can probably tell I feel a little bit nervous. So this episode is vulnerable because I'm going to be talking about childhood, how we grew up, how people grow up, or how you've grown up, how I've grown up, and how it can impact our self-worth as adults, which can then ultimately impact our business. And I think it's really important to become aware of the things that you wouldn't expect. Now, let me say that again. It's really important to become aware of everything that made you you and that your business is made by you. You have created your online business from absolutely nothing, from scratch. And potentially you're like me and you've actually created your whole life on your own. Obviously, I didn't make myself in my mother's womb, but my life and my choices and having the awareness that I haven't got that foundation. There was a something that happened yesterday, and I used to love numbers. I've always loved numbers. I love multiplication. I love algebra. I love addition. I love doing it in my head. I love writing it out. Give me the bigger numbers, the better. Because I love solving problems. And I think anybody that's listening to this and they love maths, it's about the problem solving aspect. And I think anybody that doesn't like maths, you haven't had a good teacher. You haven't had a good enough like if I taught you maths, you'd love it. I could still teach you maths now and you'd love it. And I used to sit with my dad when I was a little girl and I would sit and we would do numbers together, just multiply numbers over and over again. And I could feel the joy that he had in doing that with me. And Jackson, my son, has inherited from me this love for numbers. And he loves numbers, but also he is able to add things up in his head already. Again, something that I used to be able to do. I can still do it, but when I was younger. And the joy that I see in him doing that. But mine got capped off. I didn't have that after my dad died. My dad died when I was 8. And then I didn't have anybody to enjoy numbers with anymore because my mum liked English and that was like the strong. She'd never said that she was very good at maths, but I think we all, a lot of people say they're not very good at maths. But I never had that share of joy with a parent again. Though, to be fair, I did do a little bit of sewing with my mum when she had good days, when I was a bit older. So I think that just got me yesterday. It really got me in the tear ducts because I think sometimes I forget how much I've missed out on growing up. And also how lucky I have. Like I have had a rough ride, like don't get me wrong, but I don't know, there was something, so I was blessed with something in my soul, I suppose, I don't know, to be able to do as well as I have. Um, just a fuckload of grit and determination and resilience, I suppose. But this episode, I haven't done a long solo episode for a while. And this episode I wanted to dedicate to something that for me has been quite profound in the shaping of me going forward and having self-worth. It's all about self-worth. Now, this links to doubt because the way I teach about doubt, what I believe about doubt is it is rooted in either self-worth, imposter syndrome, or fear. And you will experience doubt in different ways according to where it is rooted. Now, for me, the thing that holds me back the most is this, and I'm so good with it now. Like, I cannot believe how far I've come from doing this work. But I honestly believe there was something broken inside of me, that there's something wrong. And I mentioned this in an episode with Beth Warren a few episodes ago about how, me and my mum, I don't talk about her very often, about our relationship, because it can be quite painful for me to talk about. And she's still around, so out of respect for her, I don't talk about it in too much detail. But there's periods of time within that relationship that we I just haven't been treated very well at all. And as a young girl, as a teenager, as a young adult, up until really I met my husband, so I was 27 when I met him, I didn't feel safe and I didn't feel very loved. And so I'm definitely not by her. And I think that for me to believe really down in my gut, which I do now, I would say I'm probably 90% there. I really do. It's really been difficult for me to get out of my own way, because if my mum can't love me and be there for me and be kind to me, how can I possibly be where I am, or how can I possibly help people? And I think I just have to, I've moved on and I've forgiven her for a lot of things, because otherwise I'm the one that's hanging on to everything. And I'm the one that is hanging on to that pain and not moving forward with it. And I know she doesn't really care. I don't think she cares about that kind of thing. So I'm just hurting myself by holding on to it like that. But there was a few things that I've held on to, that I've held on to in the past, that I've managed to shift out of my own way. And they're quite profound. And I really wanted this episode to tell you a bit about those things and hope that it sheds some light for you too. Because my job is to help you get out of your own way and make your dreams happen. And if there is something that I have learned about myself in order for me to move forward, in order for me to become the woman that I needed when I was a girl, then I need to share it. And this episode is also inspired by one of my best friends. I don't need to name her. She knows who she is, because this episode is all inspired by a conversation on WhatsApp we had. I don't actually know, about a month ago. And she just had some real epiphanies through that conversation. And I said, look, I'm going to talk about it in more detail because it needs to be shared. So, and that conversation stemmed from the fact that my beautiful friend was feeling really poorly, and the house had got into a state. Her house had got into a bit of a state. She's got two beautiful children. Husband works, she works. When you're ill, like, it's just another added thing to the list, isn't it? No, it's very inconvenient to get ill, isn't it? And she was feeling really overwhelmed because she didn't have the energy to clean everything up, and it was impacting her emotions. And she just wanted to accept that it's okay to have a messy house, especially when you're poorly. It's okay. Now, the thing with my friend, very similar to me, our mums are very similar, um, is that we grew up in chaos, grew up in absolute chaos and filth and dirt and untidiness. My home that I grew up in which I'll tell you about in a bit later, it was just really dirty. Now, obviously, I've got a lot of sympathy for mum in that respect because my dad died and she was pregnant with my brother and had 3 other children. It's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot. She was 37 when my dad died. Like, and I think this year for me is very significant. I've just booked my 40th birthday party, by the way. I just say, like, I'm so excited because my dad passed away 2 weeks before he turned 40, like literally 16 days before he turned 40. And I'm here and I am strong and I am healthy and I feel fantastic. And what a frigging blessing that I am able to live this life and he didn't get there. So I knew that when I was going to turn 40, I'm going big, big. So I'm really excited. I finally booked my 40th birthday party. I'm gonna. Oh, this is so off on a tangent, but I think it might lighten the mood a little bit because I was feeling like my eyes were going to leak a little bit. Um, but I'm going to hire a hot tub for my garden so I can sit on my birthday in a hot tub sipping prosecco or champagne or I don't even like champagne or prosecco anymore. I had a great big stint of no alcohol and I just can't go back to prosecco. It just makes me feel sick. I don't know. What can I drink? Oh, I had a White Russian the other day, which was really good. I'd never had a White Russian before. Oh, espresso martinis. I'm going to have martinis in my hot tub. I'm going to have lychee martinis. I'm going to have margaritas. That's the kind of thing I'm going to drink. That's what it is. So anyway, in my hot tub, I'm going to go for a lovely dinners and I'm going to have this party with all of my best friends and it's just going to be lovely. Anyway, back to the sad stuff. um, but yes, I mean, I understand it was a lot for her, but I think growing up in chaos, it just is not great. It's just not great. And I felt, and I have felt many, many times that if my house now is not spotless, then I'm not worth anything. Because I didn't feel when I was growing up to feel of any worth. I didn't feel like I was worthy of anything. I know, like I was a very sad girl, very sad little girl. Um, and I mean, again, I could go in down on a tangent and start telling stories about stuff like that. And maybe one day I will. I'm sure that I will. But I don't know how it helps anymore. It's just a bit re-traumatization of it. I think it can make me, because there's certain triggers that I still have. And if anyone's experienced trauma of their life, like you will know this too, there are always going to be things that you can get over, but there are some things that are like wired in. And Gabor Mate, I've got his book over there. Can't say his name. I'm just going to move for a bit, just for a second, and get the book to show you. This book, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, this is about how trauma is in your body and how it can stay stuck. And there's just different ways, and then you can actually develop illnesses because of the trauma attached to your body. And there's also the book, The Chimp Paradox, and he talks about, I think it's gremlins and goblins, and you can't get rid of the goblins or something like that. If you've read those books, you'll know what I'm talking about. I can't remember the words, but so there are some things I'm just never going to, I can't remove them, but I can grow around them. And that's what I try to do. But there are some things that I just can't, you know, I'm made this way and that's the way it is. And I think there's got to be a lot of forgiveness with myself for that. So I used to always think, well, if my house is not perfect, then I am not worthy. Like a show home or something like that. Because I would just be cleaning and cleaning. And when I was a little girl, when my dad passed away, that's what I would do, all the housework, and I would just be cleaning all the time, like hoovering. And I don't know whether it was like a psychological response to the loss, just to keep me distracted and numb to how much pain I was in, maybe, probably. But I've learned now that my self-worth is not attached to how clean and tidy my house is. If people come into my house and it's not clean and tidy, I'm still worthy. And this is what I've spoken about before about worthiness. Moving through worthiness and understanding your worthiness, it has to be that like you are worthy. There's no question, there's no debate, it's like saying the sky's blue, grass is green, you are worthy. And I think I've just repeated that so many times. I know I'm worthy. I'm as worthy as the day I was born. Oh, got to be emotional then. This is not going to be a crying episode, but it's obviously something sensitive to talk about. But I just wanted to know, I want you to know it's okay. I've got you. And I want you to know that you can feel better about these kinds of things and move forward. And I tell you, the one thing that used to hold me back in my getting my business done was me running around thinking I've got to have the house tidy before I start work. No, because that's all your good energy. Use it for housework. I've got a cleaner now, you know, or I do it last. It's my priority. I'm working. I've got to work. I've got a job. I've got a business. I'll do that first, then I'll housework later. Another thing that I've learned is about that I always felt because I grew up in a house like that, I always felt a bit skanky. And if you don't know what the word skanky means, it's a very southern word, Southern England use of word. It's like bit smelly, a bit dirty, don't really look clean. And I don't know if I did when I was a kid because how much it costs so much money to wash clothes, doesn't it? And we didn't have any money. And we didn't even have a washing machine till I was 9 or 10. So my mum had to wash all of our clothes in the bath or in the sink. And we had a spin dryer. She had to wash everything by hand. This was even before my dad died. This was like from the beginning. So you got two adults, three kids, and then my brother came along. It's like, ha of course, my clothes weren't as clean as everybody else's. It wasn't as simple as putting them in the washing machine and sticking them in a tumble dryer. It just didn't happen. Didn't do it. I mean, I haven't got a tumble dryer now, but you know what I mean? Like, we didn't even have a garden. We didn't have a washing line. We had a little bit of string in this gap on a concrete alleyway, like landing. Didn't have it anywhere to. And if you know about social housing, a lot of the time they don't have the best heating. I mean, things are so much better now, but you haven't, it costs a lot so we couldn't heat the house because that costs a lot. We were on a meter. So my mum regularly ran out of money to pay for the electric and the gas. So we would be sitting in the dark or, like when my mum would be cooking dinner and the money would run out. She's on her own with kids, or my dad was out having a bender, so he weren't around. So it's like, well, how do you then finish feeding your kids? It's bloody dark. Um, we you didn't have the heating on, so you couldn't dry the clothes because that was expensive. You couldn't dry your clothes properly, and you had to dry them indoors because we didn't have a washing line. And then the mold came. We had black mold in every room all the time, and I had asthma, I had chest infections. It's all because of that. It's a never-ending cycle, and I have to forgive my mum for being upset and sad for that. Like, what kind of existence is that? This was a long time ago. I wouldn't say things have. I think the quality of social housing being built now is much better. I know that there is still a lot of social housing and private letting out there that is not up to standard, but I think people are more aware of it. But all services are stretched. But by back then, no one even noticed there was anything wrong. Now teachers are trained to know that there's something going on, So I think things have improved in one way or the other. I definitely know my mum would have had more help, I think now, or would have been entitled to more help. But I don't. I mean, I used to work in that field. I don't know as much anymore. My husband still does, but I do know there is like a housing crisis. There's a crisis of not enough housing. And I think we've got to have a bit of empathy about stuff like that because, and benefits. Like, if my mum didn't have benefits, how the hell would she have fed us? Like, I mean, at least we had some kind of food. It was just oven chips and like probably 10% meat sausages every night. Like, um, and laugh about it. You know, like we didn't have fruit and veg. Anyway, this isn't. I was just like, do you see what I mean? Like you start talking about something and you just, I think but it's powerful. And I think actually, this is what makes me a fucking good coach and leader of the Vivid Business Club and the Dream Team and everything I do, because I'm not bullshitting. I've been there. I've done some hard things. I've been through some hard stuff, and I know my shit. I really do know my shit. And that's what makes me so powerful to work with, and how I help you in such a powerful way, because I've had a life. I've really lived. I saw somebody talking about their life the other day, and they left the corporate world after 2 years. It's like, do you know about life? And is that me being harsh? Maybe, probably is. Some people are just naturally, but I mean, I got my first job working with adults with learning disabilities when I was 17. If you count the hairdressers, I was working in the hairdresser when I was 15. And I left to go self-employed 4 years ago. And I'm 39, so 35, so 20 years. I think I did my time. um, so yeah, anyway, going back to skanky, feeling dirty. I always used to feel dirty. And I think as I've grown and looked at my business and been worthy of my success and feeling worthy of wanting more and feeling worthy of what I charge, etc., and all of those worthiness questions, I felt like someone was going to catch me out and realize I was actually really skanky and I was like going to get taken out of this life, because I have a sweet house. I have a gorgeous house. Look at my office. It's got freaking pink leopard print that I painted by hand. This lovely, I mean, by the way, this is all secondhand. This is my Facebook Marketplace chair, velvet chair that was £25. That lamp there, which I've always wanted, a green banker's lamp, that was a fiver. I've got a lovely granny lamp here that's like, literally, I was just thinking my grandkids are going to just love this lamp because it's going to be like Nanny Claire has got Nana Claire. Anyway, I'm not anywhere near being a grandma, fucking hell. But it's beautiful anyway. So I love buying secondhand things because I feel like I'm getting like a new lease of life, giving them a permission to still live on. But my house is gorgeous. Like, we've got a bar, for frig's sake. We've got a gorgeous garden. I just love my house so much. But we work fucking hard to get it. So yeah, we just worked really hard to get it. We bought at the right time, all of those wonderful things. But it also helped that when I was 23, I bought my flat because I kept getting homeless. I was 22 actually. And I had to scrimp. Oh my God, did I have to scrimp to buy that flat? But I needed a home. It was the size of a postage stamp. And I had it only up to like very recently. I think I only sold it like 18 months ago because I bought it just before the great crash in 2000. So I bought it in 2008. And then there was a great big crash in September 2008, I think it was. And like the price went so low. It was in negative equity for a very long time and I couldn't sell it. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought someone's going to catch me out and think I'm too skanky for this life. And then I realized there's a song actually in American Requiem on Beyonce's new album, that says something. Oh, I'm going to have to find the lyric now that I've said that. And I just realized, oh, this is good. This is good content. Hold up, wait a minute. She says, pretty house that we never said goodbye to what has been, pretty house that we have never settled in, a funeral for fair weather friends. I am the one to cleanse me of my father's sins. I was like, those lines are just me. The bit that I want to talk about is that house, the pretty house we never settled in. For me, that I associated that with the house that I never settled in. I was never settled in that the way that I grew up because I never belonged in it. I was never meant to be there. I was meant to be in this life. I think I was born into the wrong place to have those experiences in order for me to be a better person now. But that, I think, in my soul, I've never been skanky. I might have looked on the outside, but my kind heart and kind soul, I think about myself as a little girl. Oh, bugger. I was never skanky. Right, I'm just going to have a quick glug of water. I did know it was going to be a bit tad emotional, but For my friend, we've never been skanky. We just had a period of time when we were in the wrong place. Okay. The other thing, big epiphany I had about this was about being safe. And I think because I never felt safe when I was little, and that was in mess, any time I now see mess or I'm in mess or I create mess, I then don't feel safe again. And so then my nervous system becomes dysregulated. And it really needs to be a sign of of holding yourself and just going, I am safe. I'm safe regardless. I'm safe regardless of whether there was mess everywhere, because I am safe. I've got this. Amount of times I've had to give myself a cuddle and say, like, you're safe now, Claire. You've got this, babe. You've got it. You're not there anymore. You're safe. And just I'm really proud of that, actually. I think it's the one thing that I'm most proud of, that I have got myself to a point in my life where I feel really safe so that I can grow. I said for ages, like, cuddle myself and go, um, you're you're safe to grow big now, Claire. And I fucking am. And I've created it for myself, just decided and just did it on my own. But the thing is, and I'm going to say that as well, I just need to write this down. Um, but that if you're surrounded by that mess, that is not a reflection on your safety now that you are so equipped with all of these skills and who you are. So it's, I think it's beneficial if I tell you what I actually said to her when I was saying this. Um, um, yeah, your nervous system regulates to the thermostat of, if I don't keep everything tidy and clean, I'll be unsafe. And I said to her, but you're safe now, babe. So give yourself a cuddle and say, I'm safe now. I've got this. And I think we have to that part of you that feels unsafe when it's untidy is that little person inside of you. You're like inner child. Just need to give her a cuddle. Just need to give him a cuddle and just say, we've got this, babe. There might be shit all over the floor. You might need to hoover. The bathrooms might be a bit dirty. Who gives a flying shit? You're safe. Of course, we all want a lovely house and well, I'm sure a lot of people want a lovely, beautiful house, but you know, it's not the be all and end all, is it? Like, it really isn't. It's not going to kill you to have a messy house, to a point. Like, I don't know, it might be a bit too messy and you might trip over something. But yeah, just because you don't have a tidy house doesn't mean you're not safe. No, just because you don't have a tidy house, you're safe now, even if you don't have a tidy house. There you go. The next thing I used to think as well is, if I didn't have a tidy house, I'd turn into my mum. So I would take all this time to tidy, especially before I would start work when I was self-employed. I'd do all this stuff just because I thought, oh my God, what if I turn into my mum? I mean, that is not going to happen. If I was going to turn into my mum, I would have already turned into her. Um, I 100. I mean, there are some things about my mum that she's not a nasty person. She's just not very nice to me. So I don't know, take that from what you get. I don't think she listens to this. If you do listen to this, Mum, I've said all to this before. I'm not talking about anything that you don't know, but let me know that you've listened to it. I don't think she does. There's no way. There's no way she listens to this. She don't know what I do for a living. She don't ask. Anyway, but when you don't turn, like, if you keep things untidy, you're not going to turn into your mum or your dad or whoever was tidy when you were young, who weren't tidy when you were younger. You're not going to turn into them. It takes much more than just an untidy house to turn into somebody you don't like. And the last thing I want to share with you today, because it has been quite an emotional episode. I've no idea how long I've been recording for, but we don't need too much I don't know, tears, do we? We don't need too many tears on a Thursday or whatever day you're listening to this. I um have had an amazing week this week. I felt incredibly happy. Business is going freaking amazing. My clients are doing so well. The dream team's doing amazing. Wins inside of every business club. It's all been, it's been so magic. And sometimes I always talk about self-belief that I didn't have, and I don't have that. Well, no, I didn't have this. This is going to this point of that anchor of looking to somebody and you feel like home when you're with them. I have got that now because I may not have had the best childhood and know who my really know who my dad was because obviously he died when I was so young. I didn't know that, and my mum, that relationship's obviously ridiculous. So I just always felt like I didn't have a home. I wasn't brought up really. I brought myself up, which is true. However, I have been raised by some amazing people. I've been raised by my sisters, my brother, even though he's a lot younger than me. I've raised him really by my brother. Um, my best friends. I've got some really amazing friends who are my family. And I'm getting emotional because, and I know a lot of my friends listen to this podcast, but I'm really shit at remembering December birthday cards. I'm so shit. I'm so shit at remembering their kids' birthdays. I'm I'm quite shit at, what else am I shit at? I'm just like sometimes I can't I don't remember. I always forget to send cards. I wish that I was better at that. Um it's like one of my best friends is just a boy. I didn't get a card. I am seeing her tomorrow though, so but I all of my friends, my bestest friends, and you know who you are. I don't even need to say your names. But I think we always need to remember these people that love us for exactly who we are. These people in our lives that don't have the same blood as us, but they love us for just who we are, for the joy that we bring into their life that sometimes we don't even understand, but they do. They can feel it and they love us for it. And I'm just so lucky to have those people in my life and for so long. Like I've been best friends with my friends since I was like 18, and then I met my other best friends when I was 19 or nearly 19 when I went to university. They brought me up, they raised me. I remember I had no idea about food when I went to university, right? None. And I would just literally just had like chips and sausages. And I remember saying to my friends Annie and Serena, I'm gonna cook for you. I'm gonna cook for you a really lovely meal. This was in Halls. And I cooked them tin tomatoes with tin tomatoes with rice. And I don't know what else I put with it actually. And the tin tomatoes like sucked up into the rice. I was like, that's basically a risotto, isn't it? And the look on their faces when I said, Serena is one of the best cooks you'll ever meet in your life. She's half Thai and half Turkish. So she's like completely like her food knowledge is amazing. She just whips up a Thai curry like in no time, and she says all these words. I have no idea. And then Annie literally loved mushroom ravioli and cheese toasties with spaghetti. And then there's me with my rice and tin tomatoes. Would you like this? And they're like, no. Serena is just such a wonderful person because she tells you exactly how it is. She's like, I'm not eating that. What the fuck is that? It's like puke. And I was like, oh, I really thought about this meal. So yeah, I had no idea anyway. But they raised me, like I learned about so many different, and my friend Zara still teaches me about food now. Still. She showed me, like she taught me about truffle crisps. You haven't tried them, she seriously. Though I think Serena says it's her that told me about it, but I think it's Zara. Zara will bring me, like, so I'm seeing them tomorrow. I know that there'll be some, so this episode is not going out for like 3 or 4 weeks. So this is the test, right? I know that I'm seeing them tomorrow. We're going for Annie's 40th birthday and we're going to stay in a hotel. We're going to a party. And I know for a fact that Zara is going to bring some weird food with her from the deli. So usually there's like some kind of spicy nuts, some kind of weird olives. It's always really nice, but it's just like unusual food. I bet you any money, even though we're in the hotel. I've been to the deli. And I think she's going to bring me some kombucha as well. I hadn't actually asked her, but I could just tell that she'll do it. This is what I'm saying. Like, I'm so lucky to have these best friends. I've got just, just the most amazing friends. Um, and then I've got all my other girls, and they're just amazing. I'm just so lucky. Like my friend Bex, who I know listens, she just adores me, like loves me so much. I just feel so much love. So I've just been raised by these amazing, amazing people. And shout out to Bex, who said she's been listening to another podcast, this Miss Me by Lillian and Makita Oliver. And I really enjoy that podcast, actually. It's really quite fun for like our age. And she was like, oh yeah. And then I started listening to yours again because I was like, oh, one of my best friends does a podcast. And she started listening again. So shout out to Bex. But we made by then. But also, what's really important is that I met Maz when I was 16. I've talked about Maz before. And Maz is still the mum of my first boyfriend, Greg. Um, I don't know if he'll like me to say his name out loud, but anyway, I've done it now. And we we split up, but she still stayed friends with me. And she was the first person in my life that went, there's something about you. And she gave me a job. She has supported housing for adults with learning disabilities. And she just believed in me in a way that I just could not. There's no way I would have believed in myself like that when I was that age, but she did. And it was just, she was like my Miss Honey out of Matilda, 100%. I owe her so much. I saw her a couple of weeks ago, and I owe her so much. She is one of the most magical human beings that's ever walked this planet. And I honestly don't think I would be here today. Like I wouldn't be where I am today without her. She gave me so much inspiration and courage. She's just an absolutely awesome person. Um, and sometimes I like I split up with her son and she still talks to me. And I was like, oh, I could have married him and then she would have been my mother-in-law forever and ever. But we weren't right. Great guy though. If he's a drum and bass DJ, by the way, and he's doing really bloody well. I'm really proud of him. So go, Greg. I've started watching and following all of his music stuff. It's brilliant. He's called Cola. You should go follow him and listen to his stuff if you like drum and bass. I'm just so proud of him. It'll just be like, oh fuck off, Claire, but still, I'm really proud of him. And then my godfather, Chris, who used to play in the same band as my dad. He actually gave me a guitar that was my Uncle Chris. I call him Uncle Chris. Don't people do that? But he's my godfather. He had a guitar, and then my dad like nicked it off him, and then my dad eventually gave it back to my godfather, but my godfather gave it to me because he was like, all of these dents are your dad's. And I was like, okay, cool. So I've got that to play, which is really cool. But my godfather's just been incredibly supportive since my dad died. And he's still in my life and that's really special. And he's definitely raised me too. Um, but yeah, I mean, me and my sisters and my brother, um, very lucky to have them. And also my husband has raised me. Freaking hell, I've learned, and my in-laws, they have taught me a lot about life, a lot about how to be social, like be socially normal, like learn different things. And um yeah, like yeah, just brilliant people. So I may not have some stuff, but I have got a lot. And all of this magic that I have accrued and grew is there to help you, get out of your own way, to help you become the person that you want to be with nothing in your way. And I don't want anything standing in your way. Like, I don't want anybody to feel like they can't be who they really want to be for any reason. Like, no matter what, I want you to reach your potential, and I want to help you. And there's lots of ways that I can help you. You can go follow me on Instagram and go and have a look. I still haven't updated my website, but I will be doing that soon. But I've got my free procrastination tool now. So you just go to clairehill.uk/action. You can go and binge on my free stuff at clairehill.uk/free stuff. You can listen to all of the podcast episodes. You subscribe and follow to the podcast. That would be wonderful. And if you want to work with me, let me know. Let's have a little chat. But I think I'm done now. I've got a little bit of a headache from the emotion, but I still feel really happy. I'm just buzzing this week. I'm just so energized and motivated because good things, amazing things are just around the corner, and I can't wait to share them all with you. All right. If you have any questions about today's episode or require any support, please let me know. And I will try and point you in the right direction or support you myself. I know it was quite a vulnerable one, and I hope that it's landed in the right place for you. It's inspired you, that you can rewrite your story. You can rewrite your story and be, the star of the show. All right. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Speak to you soon.